Hi, I'm Abby from ratings.com. Today we'll be looking at the LG S95TR. This flagship soundbar is one of the best LG soundbars we've tested, replacing last year's S95QR. It's a 9.1.5 channel setup with a subwoofer and 2 satellites. But can the best that LG has to offer hold its own against the competition? Let's find out. Design-wise, LG's clearly pulling from the same playbook as almost every other soundbar manufacturer, and not much has changed from the previous generation. The subwoofer and satellites are identical, with black plastic casings and fabric coverings, but the bar itself has been slightly redesigned. Rather than a fabric cover, there's now a sturdier metal grille around the front and sides. The soundbar has 3 up-firing speakers, including a unique up-firing center channel that's supposed to add more clarity to dialogue. The bar is quite wide, so it likely won't fit between the legs of most TVs, but its relatively low profile means it's unlikely to block the screen. Otherwise, you can also wall mount it, and the brackets for both the bar and the satellite speakers are included in the box. Thankfully, the subwoofer and rear satellites connect to the bar wirelessly, so aside from plugging them into a power source, you have some flexibility with placement. The controls are located on top of the bar and include touch-sensitive buttons to turn the soundbar on and off, switch inputs, adjust volume, and activate Bluetooth and Wi-Fi pairing. The soundbar also comes with a basic remote that controls volume and inputs, but you'll have to download the LG Soundbar app for more advanced features like auto volume and AI room calibration. Unfortunately, there are no voice assistants built in, but you can pair the soundbar with third-party devices like a Google Home or Amazon Echo if you want to use voice controls. The app is especially useful since the soundbar itself has only a small display that uses light indicators as opposed to letters. That means there's no indication of volume level or settings aside from some color-coded light cues that go from green to yellow to red to indicate the safety of your volume setting. The S95TR includes 2 HDMI ports, an optical audio input, as well as a USB port. One of the HDMI ports is also the eARC port, which supports most common audio formats including Dolby Digital and DTS. It also supports object-based formats like Dolby Atmos and DTS-X, so you can get the most out of your Blu-rays and other media. If you want to forego cables entirely, you can also use LG's Wowcast feature to connect the soundbar to an LG TV wirelessly. But naturally, there's higher latency than with a wired connection, which could lead to some AV sync issues. It isn't too noticeable, but if you want to avoid sync issues, you're better off sticking to HDMI. Unfortunately for console gamers, this soundbar doesn't support full HDMI 2.1 bandwidth. You'll have to plug your current gen consoles directly into your TV's HDMI 2.1 port if you want to take full advantage of them. While the LG S95TR does pass through a 4K at 120Hz signal, it can only pass through a more compressed 8-bit signal, so you won't be getting the best color depth out of the HDR content. On the upside, it does support auto low latency mode, as well as G-Sync and HDMI Forum VRR for a tear-free gaming experience. But with all these connectivity options, you'll want to know which one has the least amount of audio latency. Thankfully, there isn't too much latency when using either the standard HDMI in or the eARC port. If you're using an optical connection, audio latency is a bit worse, especially with Dolby Digital, which is widely used in Blu-rays and on streaming platforms. Having said that, different apps and TVs compensate for latency differently, and you can also manually correct for delay using the AV Sync feature in the Soundbar's app. But ratings, you may ask. How does the soundbar sound? Well, pretty darn good. It has a well-balanced sound with a deep, satisfying bass courtesy of the subwoofer. It can, however, sound a little too boomy. Dialogue is 5x5, or that is loud and clear, thanks to a great center channel helped by its up-firing speaker. If the sound out of the box isn't cutting it for you, there are a range of EQ presets to choose from, with bass and treble sliders to fine-tune the sound. We recommend using the standard preset, with the bass adjusted to -2 and the treble pushed to +3 for a more neutral sound that gets closer to our target curve. The bass will be less boomy, while dialogue will have a bit more detail and presence. The soundbar also gets loud enough to fill open spaces, with almost no compression unless you listen at max volume. And even then, it's pretty minimal. With discrete satellite speakers, this setup provides a fairly immersive surround sound experience, certainly more than soundbars that rely on phantom surround sound. But the rears aren't particularly accurate and are somewhat lacking in detail, with some roll-off in the treble range. Both the satellites include up-firing speakers in addition to the 3 up-firing channels on the bar itself. All of that up-firing definitely adds some excitement when watching Atmos content, though once again the frequency response here is a bit boomy. In our subjective assessment, we also found the satellites to be overly quiet and not level matched with the soundbar. Even playing around with the overhead height settings doesn't help much. While the sound is detailed, this setup just can't produce enough height to really get the most out of Atmos content. If you were hoping to feel like that helicopter is descending right into your living room, you might be a tad disappointed. On the plus side, there are a ton of enhancement features here, like AI-driven room correction that adjusts the sound based on the unique acoustics of your living room. And if you have an LG TV, you can take advantage of features like Wow Orchestra, which invites your TV speakers into the mix for an even more immersive sound. So, should you buy this soundbar? For LG TV owners, the S95TR is a no-brainer, especially if you can find it on sale. You'll be able to fully integrate it with your TV and take advantage of extra features like Wow Orchestra and wireless Wowcast setup. Overall, it offers almost everything you would expect from a top-of-the-line soundbar, including immersive, well-balanced sound and clear dialogue, thanks to the up-firing center channel. But it's also missing HDMI 2.1, and its Atmos performance leaves a little to be desired. If you're looking for something with better surround sound and height performance, try the Samsung HWQ990D. It's a bit pricier, but it has more balanced sound out of the box and creates a more dimensional sound with Atmos content. On top of that, it supports the full HDMI 2.1 bandwidth, so you can get the most out of your gaming consoles. We've made a whole video about it that you can check out here. For those of you looking to save some money, the previous gen LG S95QR is still a great deal if you can find it. Aside from some extra tweeters and improved software, including the addition of Wowcast Ready, the differences between this new model and the older model are fairly minor. The S95TR does sound slightly better right out of the box, but with a little calibration, the S95QR will still sound great. Well, that about covers it for the LG S95TR. If you want to learn more, check out the full review on our website. You can find the link in the description below. Until next time, I'm Abby from RTINGS.com, where we help you find the best soundbar for your needs.
Still need more? Well, you're in luck. We've also released a behind-the-scenes video following our Sonos Ace in our product pipeline. If you've ever been curious about what we do, who we are, how products get tested, then you'll want to check it out.